Good morning, folks. It's Javier. I'm going to do a really quick video. I know I did a video just now and it had nothing to do with anything related to politics, but I wanted to do a video about Trump. Two things real quick. I want to just kind of make this rather brief. Trump's tweet, his recent long tweet about the Epstein stuff. Hopefully, this stuff will be put to rest soon, and about Kash Patel. So, um, basically, Trump sent out a very long tweet, kind of like defending Attorney General Pam Bondi, and not only defending her, but basically doubling down and tripling down, saying that, this Epstein stuff, we got to put this behind us. And you know what? I agree, but he said some things in there that once again, it is just a contradiction. It is something that I need to continue to talk about and speak out of. But here we go. I'm going to read you guys the tweet, and we're going to discuss. Trump tweets, "What's going on, my boys, and some cases girls? They are all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi. True. She was doing a fantastic job. Debatable. We're on one team, Mega. No, that's your team, not mine, but irrelevant here. And I don't like what's happening. Fair enough. We have a perfect administration. No, you don't. The talk of the world. Heck no, not even close. And selfish people are trying to hurt it over a guy who never dies." That is correct. The guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, Epstein over and over again. For years, Epstein over and over again. That is correct. He's correct on the point he's making in the first part of his tweet. Jeffrey Epstein has been talked about for years, partly because of Donald Trump. Donald Trump, Dan Bongino, and all these people, these far-right conspiracy theorists, pushing this conspiracy to the mega base. Trump was talking about this back in 2015. He was obsessed with it. Now, at the same time, it's all a big conspiracy. Now, I want to make one thing clear. I saw somebody say today that, okay, Trump is just covering up for Bill Clinton because he's Bill Clinton's friend. Well, that can lead to two possibilities. First of all, Trump is covering up for Bill Clinton because he's Bill Clinton's friend and he thinks Bill Clinton's on the Epstein list, blah, 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 blah. First of all, that doesn't make sense. If Trump is covering up for Bill Clinton, then they were both on the Epstein list. That's just the reality, because there are tons and tons and tons of photos with Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. They were really, really close buds for a long time. That is the reality. That is the truth. There's lots of photos with Trump and Jeffrey Epstein together. Now, yeah, there might be some photos with Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein too, but at the end of the day, first of all, my stance is that this list was fake. And by the way, Kash Patel confirmed that. We will get to that. We will discuss that. I can actually discuss that right now. Kash Patel posted in a tweet saying that he wrote it beautifully. "These conspiracy theories are not true and never have been. It's an honor to serve the President of the United States, Donald Trump, and I will continue to do so as long as he calls me." So Kash Patel wrote that 17 hours ago. These conspiracy theories just aren't true. These conspiracy theorists, repeat after me, these conspiracy theories just aren't true. Never have been. These conspiracy theories just aren't true and never have been. Kash Patel, director of the FBI and the Trump administration. So, I believe Kash Patel. I believe Pam Bondi. I believe they did their due diligence. And I don't believe there was an Epstein list. I don't believe it exists. I don't believe that there was an Epstein Island where celebrities or, celebrities and politicians all got on a plane and flew to an island and have sex with children. That's disgusting, and I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that ever happened. I believe that was a giant conspiracy. Now, entertaining the possibility that it could have happened, then There's photos of Trump with Jeffrey Epstein, plenty of them, and there's photos of Bill Clinton with Jeffrey Epstein. So that would mean that Trump and Bill Clinton are trying to cover up for each other. Trump is trying to cover up for Bill Clinton and cover up for himself. So if there was a list, which I don't believe there was, if there was a pedophile ring, which I don't believe there was, then both Trump and Bill Clinton were involved in it. And there's no way around that. That's just what it is. But I do trust that the FBI, and the intelligence agency did their due diligence. And like Kash Patel said, once again, these conspiracy theories aren't true and never have been. These conspiracy theories aren't true and never have been. So, end of discussion. These so-called arrests will not be happening. This did not happen. All this red meat fed to the mega base for so many years was all a waste. That's just all it was. Now we're going to get back to Trump's tweet where we started. Okay, so continuing on. So Trump writes, again, what's going on, boys and girls? They're going after Attorney General Bondi, doing a fantastic job. One team mega, and I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect administration, the talk of the world. All different discussions. And selfish people are trying to hurt it over a guy who never dies. Jeffrey Epstein for years. It's Epstein. Epstein has over and over again. Yeah, he's correct. He's correct. Jeffrey Epstein has been, like I said, Jeffrey Epstein has been talked about for years. Over and over and over again. And he's like the guy that never dies. Trump is right. Trump is right there. Okay? And Kash Patel is right when he says that these conspiracy theories aren't true and never have been. And then Trump messes it up. I gotta expect that. Sadly, I have to expect that. Because while putting to rest this conspiracy, he gets into other conspiracies. He just can't help himself. He just can't help himself. Okay, he continues on. He was correct. Trump was correct when he says, for years it's Epstein over and over again, a guy who never dies. And by the way, just reemphasizing one little point here, he's part of the reason it never dies because he talked about this years ago to campaign and throw red meat to the mega base. Okay? Emphasize that. He's been throwing red meat to the mega base for so long. Even before they started talking about it. They believe it because he's been touting it. They believe it because Dan Bongino's been touting it. They believe it because all these right-wing conspiracy theories and far-right podcasters have been touting this. And now they're just struck in the gut because it's just not true. They're not going to get their arrest that they've been lusting for. Oh, they want to arrest Obama and Clinton and all the Democrats and all that stuff because they're just looking for dirt to get on the people that they hate that doesn't exist. And that's all it comes down to. And I've said this over and over and over again. Okay, so now Trump gets into conspiracies. Again, because he can't help himself, and that's unfortunate. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama, crooked Hillary, Comey, Brendan, and the losers of the criminal Biden administration, who conned the world with Russia hoax? A laptop in hell. They created the Epstein files. Zero evidence for that. The whole Epstein thing was a big conspiracy, and Trump is rightfully trying to put this conspiracy to rest while bringing up another conspiracy that has not a shred of evidence, because Trump just can't help himself. He's rightfully putting to rest a long-standing conspiracy that has been overthrowing red meat to the mega base. He's rightfully putting that to rest. While trying to bring up another conspiracy to throw more red meat to the mega base. He can't help himself. This dude's a child, guys. This dude's a child. He's a big, big child. He has a lot of hate in his heart for Obama and Clinton and all these people, and that's what he does. He has a lot of hate in his heart. They just like they created the fake Hillary Clinton dossier, blah 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 blah. Radical left lunatics, and then it's about hurting the MAGA movement, and it's just okay. So basically, he rightfully puts to rest this Epstein conspiracy. Kash Patel rightfully puts to rest this Epstein conspiracy. And I love what Kash Patel says here. I love what he says here. Kash Patel, these conspiracies aren't true and never have been. Same thing applies with, Jeffrey Epstein conspiracy, but same thing applies with all these crappy, stupid, zero evidence Trump conspiracies he's touting. So, he's saying that, crooked Obama, the Epstein files were written by Obama, crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers of the criminal Biden administration. No. These conspiracies are not true and never have been. What Trump is saying here is not true and never has been. They lust to find dirt on the people that they hate when the dirt doesn't exist. It's a sad state of affairs. I'm happy Trump's finally moving forward with this and, snubbing the mega base and putting this all to rest. But at the same time, he's bringing up other conspiracies that are not true and never have been. No, Obama and Clinton and the Biden people did not create the Epstein list. That is not true, and it's never has been, and there's never been a shred of evidence for that. The dude is a conspiracy theorist. He cannot help himself. He cannot help himself with touting far-right conspiracies. And that's where I'll put this to rest. But I'm glad that this is coming to an end. Trump should obviously, as president, focus on the things that actually need to be focused on in this country. I will continue to speak out against his, alligator Alcatraz concentration camps and his monstrous immigration policies. I will continue to speak out against the rightward shift in this country, in a country that's embracing conspiracies, and a country that is continuing to move far to the right and continuing to brainwash young people all over the nation. I see through it, and I will continue to speak out against it, and I will continue to call out Trump's conspiracies and the conspiracies of all these right-wing folks that are in the administration. I don't know if Dan Bongino will be resigning or not. Kash Patel will be staying. He has confirmed that via tweet. Whether Dan Bongino resigns or not is irrelevant. I'm okay with it either way. If he wants to go, he can go. If he wants to stay, he can stay. I do think that, just to give him, a little bit of credit, Dan Bongino actually takes the job seriously in the FBI. He's very, putting aside all the mega conspiracies and all that, he actually seems to take his job seriously in the FBI, and that I respect about him. And I have thought that he's doing a pretty good job in the FBI. But I've said my piece, folks, and that will be all. But I appreciate you guys all for watching. Take care. Before this video gets too long, have a great day.